Coming to you live from the year 2054. It's not that far away. It's the 10-Point Podcast. My name is Bruce. Imagine a world without movies. Just 2.5 years ago, the unreviewed movie rate in this country had reached epidemic proportions. It seemed that only a miracle could stop it rising. But instead of one miracle, we were given 3. The 10-Point Podcast.
Yay.
With me in the waters of the temple this week. You sick bastard! You're what makes this a terrible world to live in. It's Chris.
That's his insult.
Oh yeah, so I meant to put a quote from the film there, aren't I? Sorry. Do you know what that was? It's really hard finding it. That was the guy going into what I've called recall, the guy who wanted to kill his boss, and then when the guy ran the place, when he was like pretending, that's what he started shouting at him. So this was a hard one. So Andy, you've got only mommy kisses him on the lips. It's Andy. Yes.
Where's that in the film?
That's the weekend.
The weekend in the hologram video, he said only mommy kisses me on the lips.
Yeah,
so yeah, it was a struggle getting intros this week. We are the 10-Point Podcast. We watch movies, we talk about them, we talk about movie news when there is movie news. 10pointpodcast.com is where you can find us. Find us on all your podcast feeds on every single app possible. Find us on YouTube, the 10-Point Broadcast.
Maybe.
Over on YouTube when they allow us to post our videos on there.
Shut down, I think, or it's just technical difficulties. But I
Might
like to get shut down.
Yeah, we'll publicise that we were too controversial for YouTube. Spotify as well, you can get the video version, which reminds me we should have said to our YouTube viewers who couldn't get us to check out Spotify, and they can watch us over there if they desire for the news.
We also, I think we need to put a tagline on this that any thoughts and stuff are our own, and we don't mean to harm any other people because
any controversial thoughts or opinions are Andy's own on this podcast.
Because I don't want to be sued for 185 million like that dude on the internet today. So Chris just brought a good point up.
That's a good point. We're still building these backgrounds, aren't we?
We're Minority Report here.
Oh god, this is I haven't even got mine ready. Chris, fill in for us.
I was just kind of watching this, go, why is this news up? And I was like, oh fuck, so I've got mine up as well. So I was like, oh, slightly.
Well, there's a lot of breaking news and there's news reports in Minority Report, so all these backgrounds work.
We've exposed that we record the news and the podcast at the same time. I'm going to go with this one to see how long it annoys you. I'll change it to a different one. So yeah, for the video viewers, we're sorted. For the audio viewers, we messed up some visual gags that we normally do. On to point 1 then. Thankfully, we can get started with our backgrounds. Point 1 on the 10-Point Podcast is what's the point? The point this week. The 2002 action crime mystery sci-fi thriller Minority Report, brought to us by DreamWorks Pictures again. It's Evolution, Old School, and then this 3 in the space of I think 6 episodes. But
I reckon DreamWorks Productions might win something.
Yeah, best studio of the year. However, also brought to us by 20th Century Fox, who we've also done before in Star Wars, Alien, Cocoon, Aliens, Die Hard, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Office Space, Me, Myself and Irene, Kung Pao and Gone Girl. So yes.
What's a collection right there?
That's a collection. A little bit of absolutely everything there. Not one single style of film missed out. Minority Report, based on a short story by Philip K. Dick, who we have covered before.
Rings a bell.
This man is a genius. We have covered him twice before. Can between the two of you remember what other genius sci-fi ideas he came out with?
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly is one, and I missed what Chris said.
Total Recall.
Yes, Total Recall. They are the two. I've already mentioned Recall. But yes, Total Recall, Scanner Darkly, Minority Report, all Philip K. Dick ideas that he came out with, and we've covered them all before. And there's still one sort of major story we've not got to yet on the podcast, but might eventually, so I will leave it unsaid until one of you pick it. The film, though, the screenplay written by Scott Frank and John Cohen. Now, John Cohen has absolutely no other credits that don't involve Minority Report at all, so I don't know what he did special about this one, but he was involved. But Scott Frank, quite a big name in terms of Hollywood writing. Writer of such things as Get Shorty, Out of Sight, both of them came before Minority Report, and after Minority Report, a film that he's famous for, The Lookout, not familiar with it. It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt in it, but apparently it's one of his big things he wrote. Marley and Me, The Wolverine
Oh.
and Logan, Godless, the TV show which he created, and then The Queen's Gambit, the TV show as well. So quite a few
You should
screenplays.
have just made Gambit. That's what people want.
Gambit, not The Queen's Gambit or Wolverine. Just call it Gambit. Minority Report, directed by Steven Spielberg, who I had to move this episode because I was going to pick this, but Chris picked Catch Me If You Can the episode before I was going to pick Minority Report, so I had to move this a bit later in the season, and I couldn't really bother picking a different film. So Minority Report stays. It is the 4th Spielberg-directed film. He's produced a couple, and he appeared in Blues Brothers, which I'm assuming he produced one way or another as well. Jaws, Jurassic Park, Catch Me If You Can, and Minority Report are the 4 Spielbergs that we have done. Probably not all of his big ones either. Jurassic Park and Jaws, clearly Spielberg classics, but still a few that we might get to for him. And Alzheimer probably would win Best Director Pointy Award, but we don't do that because that's, I don't know, it's too analytical for us to give directors.
We hate directors,
Yeah.
as we found
Well,
in season 1.
So I think I just typically stay away from them to stop Andy moaning about them.
Or one guy in particular.
Fucking
Well,
Noland.
And a couple of brothers as well.
Oh yeah.
Which famously, that was his first ever rant, I think, on the podcast, was against Code. Minority Report, starring cast as Chief John Anderton with a T, not Anderson, but Anderton with a T, Tom Cruise. Famous for Top Gun, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible, Minority Report, which we're doing now, and The Last Samurai, apparently. I don't know why that's one of the ones that he's famous for, but they're his famous ones. We have
So
covered.
I was saying on the news, he even wanted to be a fucking samurai, and I'm like, all right, Tom Cruise, you could be a samurai.
Yeah.
No problem. I can't see an issue with that one bit.
Nothing.
I never thought he'd done like hundreds of films. He's only done like 50 or 60.
I did. Yeah, he has done 46. He's had 46 acting credits. Max von Sydow had 120 more acting credits than Tom Cruise does. Obviously, Max is no longer with us, and Tom is very much going to get going. But still,
If
Tom
you're
Cruise
filming
is-
shit in space, you're going to not churn out films every year.
he also did not release a film, Tom Cruise, between 2018 and 2022 because obviously Maverick was supposed to come out and then it got pushed back, and then the production of Mission Impossible got pushed back. I mean, he's had this 4-year gap where he didn't make a film. But yeah, if you look at, I think it's the early 2000s, there's spaces like 2 years where he doesn't make a film. But I guess every film he makes is event cinema. Like if you actually look at the list of films, I ran through it myself looking at it. It's like even things like Oblivion and Edge of Tomorrow, which we've done before, and all that. It's a big marquee event release because it's a Tom Cruise film. Like he's been himself in about 300 things on the IMDb credits, but actually acting 46 films is all he's been in, which is crazy. But we've covered him before, so we'll not go too deep in it. And Tom Cruise is another staple of the podcast because he has his own stats point. But big Tom Cruise fans over here. And of course, actually, we did Top Gun Maverick. We did that as a side podcast as well, so we covered him on that as well.
Right,
Co-star-
that to be a bonus episode.
Bonus episode, yeah. Co-starring as Danny Whitwer, although I really struggled to get his surname, but I got Danny the whole way through. Colin Farrell. Famous for, I've got a big long list of Colin Farrell things. Ballycus Angel, the TV show, is what I've got his first credit. So that's,
That blew my mind. I had no idea he was in that. I used to
But-
watch it as well.
but Minority Report was basically his major US breakout. This was him becoming a movie star with Minority Report. And then he made quite quickly afterwards Phone Booth and then Daredevil. And that's that was his first real kind of struggling point. But then went SWAT, Alexander, Miami Vice, which is, again, it's not much of a resurgence. But then In Bruges, Horrible Bosses, Fright Night, which I quite like, his Fright Night he was in. Then, quite ironically, coincidentally, the Total Recall remake of 2012, which is a little bit of everything mixed up there. 7 Psychopaths, The Lobster was one of his famous ones. I've never heard of The Lobster.
Nope.
I
But
watched that. It's a weird film.
there you go. But a lot of what he's been good in is actually weird as well. He was in a season of the True Detective TV show. He's in Fantastic Beasts. Very recently was in The Batman, which is his last biggest thing he was in. And coming out next week is the next Colin Farrell film, The Banshees of Inisherin, which is him and his mate from In Bruges, whose name escapes me at the moment, who we've done all the time. He was in 28 Days Later. Irish fella. Yes,
Cillian Murphy.
Brendan Gleeson. Him
Oh, him.
and reuniting from In Bruges. They're back together for The Banshees of Inisherin, which I'll mention on the news, I would imagine, next week, previewing that. So that's Colin Farrell. Co-starring as Agatha, Samantha Morton. This was her big American movie breakout as well, being in Minority Report. She was in various kind of British television shows, dramas and all that prior to that. This was her movie star breakout. She was in Control, was the next biggest thing she was in. The kind of Joy Division sort of biopic sort of thing. She's very good in that. It's not the most fun watch ever, but it's very good. A film that comes up probably once every 4 episodes called Synecdoche, New York, or something like that is what it's called. It's spelt differently how you say it. So but it's a drama film that was very well respected. She was in that. And other films, The Messenger, she was in John Carter, which I'm assuming is where her action movie kind of stalled.
Amazing.
Cosmopolis, she's in the first Fantastic Beasts, she's in a couple of seasons of The Walking Dead TV show, and she's in The Whale, the Brendan Fraser movie that Andy was talking about on the news this week. So she's in that, which is coming out next year. Again, Andy was talking about the controversy on the news. Head over to that if you want to hear him talking about that.
Final listen.
And finally, he was written as an and, so I've popped him in for the starring cast. Max von Sydow as Lamar Burgess. Now, he, like I say, he's been in like a million things, yeah. The Seventh Seal, The Exorcist, 3 Days of the Condor, Flash Gordon, he plays Ming in Flash Gordon. It's, again, laughing at Tom Cruise being in The Last Samurai, he played Ming the Merciless. Escape to Victory, Conan the Barbarian, Never Say Never Again. This one jumped out at me. He's in Ghostbusters 2. Because he plays uncredited the voice of Vigo in Ghostbusters 2, does Max von Sydow. So he looks like Vigo, but he's not Vigo, but he plays the voice for some reason. I don't know why he didn't do both, but anyway, he's in that. That was all prior to Minority Report, but after that he was in Shutter Island, the 2010 Robin Hood, the Russell Crowe one, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. He's in The Force Awakens. He's the guy at the very beginning who they come to for, I don't know, it's not the Death Star plans, but whatever he has, it's that sort of MacGuffin. And then he was the Game of Thrones, he was the three-eyed raven stuck in the tree, was Max von Sydow as well. So a very famous actor, acted for about 70 years, passed away a couple of years ago. A very famous actor. And also, he's in a whole bunch of foreign language films, I'm assuming German and otherwise, that I don't recognise. So that's my shame for not knowing my foreign cinema very well. Minority Report, on a budget of $102 million. A lot of money pumped into this one. That might be one of our highest budgets. And a classic returning feature. Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg both waived their salaries in order to make this film. They said, we won't take a pay. We will take 15% of the gross. So keep that in mind when I go through the stats here. Minority Report, US opening weekend, $35.5 million. Final US gross, $132 million, so already $30 million up on its budget. Final worldwide, $358 million for Minority Report, which means 15% of the gross, $54 million. I don't know if the 15% is split between them. I would certainly hope so. If it's not, they both pocketed $50 million each. So,
see, if Hollywood's listening, I'll do pretty much any Hollywood film for 5%.
Yeah, for 1% of the gross. Yeah.
I'll happily do it. I'll be the main person in it. You want to like extra? I'll do it all. I'll be John Malkovich. I'll play me in every single role, and I'll take maybe 2% if I'm playing every character. 1% if I'm just the main character.
From Ryan Reynolds.
Chris 5-5.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So they pocketed a kind of a pretty package out of this one. Released 2002. Released on Independence Day, but in the UK. So both summer 2002. Means that it was perfect fodder for 2003 awards season, was Minority Report. At the so-called major awards ceremony of 2003, it received one nomination at the 2003 Oscars. It was nominated for Best Sound Editing, but it lost to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. One nomination at the BAFTAs for Minority Report, Best Special Visual Effects. It lost to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. At the MTV Movie Awards, it got a nomination, the Best Action Sequence, just titled The Escape. So my best guess is him on the cars, is probably I would have thought, because that's the one that most seems like an action sequence that was an escape. Lost to Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, The Battle for Helm's Deep was the best. It's hard to argue for an action sequence. 2003 Saturn Awards, Minority Report, 10 nominations at the Saturn Awards. We're back with the Saturn Awards. Couple of blank weeks. These were the nominations. Best Special Effects. Lost to Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Remember that? Best Makeup. Lost to Lord of the Rings The Two Towers. Best Costumes. lost to Attack of the Clones and Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Best music, John Williams, who I've got to say was the composer on this film. He quickly finished up Attack of the Clones this year and hurried on over to do the composing from Minority Report. Lost to Spider-Man. Out of nowhere. Danny Elfman's score for Spider-Man was best music. On to the acting awards now. Best supporting actor, Max von Sydow, lost to Andy Serkis as the role of Gollum in Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Back again. Best supporting actress, Samantha Morton, was the winner. She actually won Best Supporting Actress, so we've got a win out of all this. Best actor, Tom Cruise, lost to Robin Williams from 1 Hour Photo, which is very much a wild card.
That is a creepy ass film, that.
It is, yeah.
That's exactly how I imagine Bly.
Best Writing, nominated at the Saturn Awards, was the winner. Best Director, Steven Spielberg, was the winner. And Best Science Fiction Film was the winner. It beat Attack of the Clones in that category. So it actually came away with 4 Saturn Awards under its belt. Not so bad. Seems to have really suffered from being released the same year as Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. So that seems to have been the mistake they made. No wonder they only made 350 million out of it. Synopsis for Minority Report, brought to us by Claudio. He's back. Good old Claudio. And this is me reading it for the first time. I just saw Claudio had sent me personally a synopsis on this, and I thought, right, whack in the notes.
I want Claudio live on this podcast.
Send out a raven to Rio de Janeiro, see if we can get in touch with him. Claudio says about Minority Report. In 2054, the pre-crime police department, commanded by Chief John Anderton, reduces the crime rates in the violent Washington to 0, using a system based on 3 humans called pre-cogs, designed by Dr. Iris Hinneman to the company owned by director Lamar Burgess. Anderton is addicted in drugs since her lost his son in a swimming pool and separated from his wife Lara Clark. Lara Clark, and was recruited by Burgess to run the department. The precogs are mutants led by Agatha and capable to foresee crimes in the near future. The agent from the Department of Justice, Danny Whitwer, comes to pre-crime to audit the system, and out of the blue, the precogs predict Anderton will commit a murder. He flees and becomes a fugitive while he tries to prove that he is innocent. But is the system fallible? Thank you, Claudio. You cracked it.
I killed him.
Most of it's in there, really. Who picked Minority Report? It was me. I picked this film. Why did I pick it? I don't actually know. I can't really remember. I think it is because, have I seen it before? Yes, once, and 20 full years ago was, I think I went to the cinema as best my recollection.
Old.
Yeah, it is mad when you think of it. This came out July 20 years ago. So, yeah. That's why I picked it. I thought, yes, Minority Report. It's one of these films where you remember what it's about. Oh, yeah, they solve crimes before they happen. And then I'm like, Tom Cruise is in it, and then I run out of information on that. So yeah, I thought I want to pick that. It was kind of a different genre from other things I was picking, and I wanted to kind of, I don't know, just keep everything sort of a bit random. So that's why I picked it. Had you guys seen it before?
Yes,
I watched it a couple of weeks ago on TV actually.
I'm pretty much the same as you. I was like watched it when it first came out. I bought it on video in Blockbuster, and then that was pretty much it. I've never seen it in probably 15 years.
I think I only ever saw it the once. There you go. Which channel will we normally find it on? I don't have an answer for this one. So Chris,
I
just watched it. It was on. I'm sure it was on BBC One.
Oh, there you go.
BBC. BBC. It's a bit high class.
BBC One's the answer. Yeah, it's high budget, so it's a BBC One sort of thing. And which version did we watch? Now, I'm assuming we all watched the same one, because there's only a little couple of changes, and the changes that are on the DVD release, which I'm assuming is the streaming version. So the only 2 things that are different from what was in theaters to what we watch nowadays. The eye transplant scene. This is literally lifted from the internet. In the eye transplant scene, the term hard-on is replaced with attitude.
Yeah.
So I can't remember when I was watching it, the term hard-on being used. So I'm assuming they just used attitude, but it must have been stop giving me attitude. Must have been the light. I don't know how you can really switch one with the other, but that's the best idea I got. And one other change.
Because there's F-bombs anyway, so it's not like it's.
Yeah, it's a strange one, yeah. And then the theatrical version, they never made it to the DVD cut. the same scene when the doctor shouts through to Greta before she makes her entrance in Swedish, "Wipe your ass and get out here," and that's been cut out of every version beyond the cinemas. So yeah, they seem to have toned down that scene a little bit. Seems to be what they went for. Okay, on to point 2, the high points. What we thought the best bits and things were. I have talked a lot, so I'll let someone lead off with what they want to do. Andy, why don't we hear from you first?
I've got one epic high point, but it's quite far in. But I'm putting it in as my first high point because
Okay,
it's
the biggest and
point.
best.
The best song is the Cops theme tune.
I actually forgot to Google what it's actually called. I nominated
I
as.
call it the Bad Boys.
I've got Bad Boys brackets. What you gonna do?
Because like every time like I watch this film, I always forget that it's in it. I was like, because like the soundtrack is kind of just kind of John Williams is kind of normal.
Yeah.
It's just out of nowhere. Bad Boys, Bad Boys. It's like this is a banger of a song, and it's right at the perfect time in the film, I think, as well. It just elevates the film.
That whole bit, I'll come up to it later on. It's just a nice little palate cleanser. It's a little bit funny, a little bit weird and crazy. Everything just kind of worked well in that bit, I thought.
Chris wants to come to that later. We'll come to that a bit later on then. So basically, my first high point I've got is stopping the first crime.
Yes.
Essentially, where the film starts. I can't remember. There's a bit beforehand, but yeah, when they say scrubbing the image. So when the pre-cogs give him the video and he's going through and he's being a detective and working it all out, it's quite thrilling. It's engrossing. It's the first 15 minutes of the film basically. It's engrossing stuff, and you get sucked in. And then when they drop in out of their kind of, I don't know, helicopter thing that they have, and they're standing looking at the houses waiting for like a clue of which one it is. It's great stuff. I very much enjoyed it.
Just to let you know, I don't have that many high points. I have a hell of a lot of low points, but they're mostly questions. Just
okay, yeah, I bet.
Down and thingy.
Yeah.
When he was doing all that, there's a lot of people there doing unnecessary things. Like, I can't remember the guy. Is it Chad or something? The guy that he's assisting with.
The code.
An extra guy to take the thing out and plug in for him.
Yeah,
instead of him just like doing it himself.
The perception I got was that they are supposed to be like a detective team, but then Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, so therefore I'm just the best.
I'll do everything myself.
I'll do it. Yeah, I don't need your help, but I will bark orders at you when I need something. Yeah, basically. So it's probably like his intern or like his understudy. I imagine he maybe takes a day off. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. But yeah, but Tom Cruise he is the chief, whatever, is John Anderson. But he does seem to do everything. Like he does. I'll get the stuff here and I'll put it in the screen and I'll talk to the person and I'll lead the team out onto the mission as well. You think someone who was the chief would have just their squad that goes out and does it for them?
But, like, I love Neil McDonough as an actor, but you could just tell he's waiting on the sidelines going, "Have your job."
yeah.
And it's like he's there, all it's like all right, and then suddenly he is like then chasing him.
Yeah,
and you can see he does a shit job. He was never ready. That's why Tom Cruise had to do everything.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got a dodgy knee, or what was he complained about? But yeah, the first 15 minutes is very much a high point, and it sets up what the film is about without the actual thing yet, because eventually the premise of the film comes a wee bit later.
Yeah.
Who else has got a high point while I sneeze?
I've got one. Like, there's a bit of like a slow patch where like nothing happens, and then you come to Anderton's murder dream. You don't know it's him, and you're just figuring it out with all the hands and stuff, and then he just stops in his face. And you're like, "Oh, damn, son."
Yeah. See, again, it's kind of the one thing that came back to me. I was like, because around this point, Jade had asked me, because she's never seen it before, what is a Minority Report? And I'm like, that's a good point. I don't know. Like, I know it's this film, so I'm hoping they're going to say the thing at some point, because I can't actually remember what Minority Report is. And I had to explain to her. I was like, oh yeah, so basically the premise of the film is he has to solve crimes before they happen, but then he has to solve him being the murderer, basically. And it's a good premise. That's one of the high points I've got, which is the premise of the film is a high point, where guy who solves. All right, because the guy who solves murder before they happen sees himself committing a murder, so has to prevent himself committing a murder that he doesn't know why he's committing, if you know what I'm saying. So the premise, I think, is a good thing. Maybe not. Well, we'll see what Andy thinks of it later on. And I think you've gone past one thing I thought was really good, was John watching his home movies. Was incredibly well shot scene where he's watching like the 3D hologram, or I guess 2D and a half hologram.
I feel like R2D2 did it better.
Maybe, yeah.
Like it does. Those holograms, like the look of them are right, but it's just the kid looked totally photoshopped.
Yeah. I guess That's kind of what.
Just filmed the thing and just put it all together, then hologrammed it.
I
Yeah.
like for a change that Tom Cruise is not squeaky clean. He's a bit of a junkie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and he's
Right,
well. We'll come into the Tom Cruise trifecta later on as well. But yeah, he's there. There isn't a love interest. Like well, there is, but it's not like an obvious. Here's the girl I'm working along beside. Me and her are going to do this together, and I'll save the day and save her. It's a little bit of a twist on that as well.
He's
I feel like
look at this stiff. I can bang her.
right. The it's basically, to my memory and eyes, it's like the last young Tom Cruise film. Like he has shorter hair and he's still like young action leading man.
Is that
And then
before
within
Mission Impossible 2? When he starts growing his hair out.
I think so. I think Mission Impossible 2 might have been just about the next film that came after this. Where yeah, longer hair is a bit more of like I'm the old man but I can still do it kind of style, and that's what he's basically been ever since. So I think it's an end of an era, Tom Cruise here. And you've also passed by Tom Cruise testing Colin Farrell with the ball in the like we're
I
talking.
like that was genius.
Yeah, the working out of.
Work with me. I'm the kind of person who just stand and go.
Well, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Why?
Balls at me for?
Yeah, why did you catch the ball? Because it would have fallen on the floor, and like thus basically proving his point of why you solve the crimes in this fashion and why it should matter, and also the authority of questioning his authority. Colin Farrell's actually pretty good in this, I think, as well.
Yes.
He very early on, I was actually kind of watching Colin Farrell, thinking, "You've not done anything wrong yet. You're like the film could very well be from Colin Farrell's perspective, where there's this shady organization. This old guy runs this company that like captures people before they do anything wrong, and then he's got his young minion who runs around the city catching them. And I want you to go and find out what's going on down there." Colin Farrell's very by the book, and he's very much trying to work out what's going on here. There is another Minority Report that comes from his perspective, I think. So
like
yeah,
he used to be a cop as well, and he knows how cops work.
yeah. So yeah, he's an intriguing character in the film because painted to be the villain, like the opposite of Tom Cruise, but actually the same as him, which is quite funny. Okay, who else has got another high point, Chris?
I've got another one.
Oh, okay.
It's the Peter Stormare eyeball scenes.
Oh, I've got
That
one
entire-
before that.
All right.
I've got the six stick. Whoever
six-
thought of that as a
Non-lethal
way of
weapon.
people- exactly,
Yeah.
a non-lethal weapon is a genius. That's
Oh.
brilliant. It's just when the guy jabs him, he goes right over
Yeah,
him.
all over him. Yeah. When they first mentioned it as well, I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty cool name for a weapon. I wonder what it does." I'm sort of thinking like it's called a six stick, like it's going to be something really brutal. No, it just makes them vomit.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want next, Andy?
So Peter Stormare, basically, right when this film's got a bit, you've had a bit of action, it's like, right, we know what's going to happen. Suddenly we get treated to like 10-15 minutes of eyeball action.
Actually,
which
what
I
we get
hate
treated
eyeballs.
what we get treated to actually is the worst sneeze ever captured on.
Oh, that is horrific.
Because I've actually got this period on low points for the eyeball transplants. This is my low points, and half of that is because of that disgusting sneeze at the beginning of on just like this is a massive phlegm ball
I don't
everywhere.
think his explanation. You're more likely you're not going to catch a virus from it. Everything's squeaky.
Yeah. But no, I like the premise of, right, he's got to change his eyeballs because the city's like thingied up, right, genius. But then we get treated to the little spider robots, which all seem to have which I would just understand as somebody's controlling them so they can see. But these things seem to have a little personality of their own and just be automated.
Yeah, or AI, I think. Yeah,
And it's like, all right, he's defeated them. And then they're just like little dicks going, electrocute the war.
yeah, very, very clever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I loved the little spider things. They were
I don't
brilliant.
understand how they didn't hear him like slamming the door shut in the bathroom, but they can hear a bubble go.
I think it's because the whole thing was all like everybody was running around and then it's finally calmed down.
No, it's the one guy they need to find as well. Like
Yeah,
they know.
this is the scene that piqued my interest. It's like genius. It's like, right, you can't open your eyes for 12 hours. The doctor's going to go away. So he's got his shit rope. He's got his food rope.
Yeah.
Genius. And then the fridge scene where it's like that looked like a tasty turkey sandwich, but everything else is like. So did this guy seem to just use the same bit, leave people there, but then never clean out his fridge, but they make the nicest, tastiest sandwich ever, but then nobody bothered to eat it.
I do have.
It was well done though, because he kind of just hover over the sandwich, but he touched the proper milk, and you think, oh, he's got that.
Yeah.
And he's just green mold.
Ugh,
He's
I do have him blindly eating all the moldy food as a high point. That was where my low point. Pretty much the whole time Peter Stormare was on screen was a low point for me. And then when he goes away, and then John's left with his ropes, like him eating the moldy food both times got a reaction out of me. Like it made me be like, oh, it was so well done.
Put his hand in like a chemical bucket thing, just
Yeah.
mice.
Yeah. But and also I quite like as well the way when we first find him, he's just in this room with Peter Stormare and the nurse or whatever she is, the doctor, and then we find out that he's there. He's got no eyes, and basically we find out he's a room in a building, and then like the whole building expands out, and then we join back on with the rest of the film again as the police are coming back in. I like that, and the way the camera pans from room to room when the spiders are running around is really really cool as well. But yeah, I like the aspects afterwards, but the whole. I also, and again, I like the premise of having to swap the eyes. It was just something about the Swedish people. It was just too weird.
The eye didn't bother me until he started putting that metal thing.
In the eyelids.
It freaked me out.
Oh yeah.
Everything else, like him carrying a bag of eyeballs, and then like just after that, drop in the eyes as well as it rolls down the hill.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah, drop in the eyes. Yeah. One very small high point I've got, because it got me so good. Chris is going to mention it later, I'm sure. The jump scare where he's like this over Agatha's face in the pool, clicking his fingers, and you're like, oh yeah, she's not reacting. And just at the absolute perfect millisecond where I'm like, oh, she's not going to react. And she goes, and just jumps out and grabs him, and I just hit the roof. It was absolutely.
I expected that to come. That's why I never got.
Because I thought, okay, not going to happen. So therefore, it was perfect because it was just at the point I thought it wasn't going to happen, and it got me. That was a belter. So jump scares don't normally, I don't normally get a high point from me, but that was a really good one.
Since you mentioned Agatha, and we've got Agatha, dodging the cops in the mall, like it's very Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Don't move. Okay, and he just walks past this random stranger. He don't go home.
Yeah, I don't go home. He knows whatever it is. Yeah, it's quite good. Ways to evade your captors, I guess it would be, when you know where they're going to be, is an interesting twist on the hiding in the mall scene. But I think before they go on the lam, the one thing I added in very late because I forgot to mention it in my notes as I was watching it was the crazy old doctor, the woman who invented the pre-cogs in the first place. Her scene in the greenhouse. She's brilliantly crazy. Like she plays it perfectly. The amount of crazy that she is to have had to been involved and all this sort of stuff. She also improvised the kiss on Tom Cruise. She wasn't supposed. I read that in my trivia notes that she just randomly to add to the craziness. But yeah, she's like, yeah, I know I've ruined the society and I've done this, but I wanted to do it. Basically, I'm learning to deal with it. I'm just getting on with my life and my plants here. So yeah, I quite enjoyed her craziness. I've got a couple other high points. Any more from anybody else?
I'm at the end.
I'm starting to struggle. It's all about the twist for me at the end.
Yeah, basically, I've got everything come together. We'll just say at the end when when we finally get to who the villain is and working out what's happened and all that. It's a good tying of a bow onto the film, I think. The bit where Max von Sydow and Tom Cruise are face to face, and he's like.
Oh, no. I forgot about the Danny Whitmore when he's talking to him beforehand.
Oh yeah, that as well. Yeah.
That's what made me shit myself.
That was a good jump scare as well. Yeah.
It's because he just talks to me. He goes, "You hear that? There's no noise." Oh, neither there is. Bang! Oh, like, fucking hell.
And of course, the camera doesn't show Max von Sydow shooting him. It shows Colin Farrell being shot, which is a good way. You're not prepared for it because you don't know there's a gun coming out. It's just a case of you're dead before you know it, basically. Or he's dead before you know it. And yeah, that as well as Tom Cruise and Max face to face, faced with the problem of either you kill me, prove your system is right, and you go to prison, or you don't kill me and your whole system goes to hell and nobody wants to give you the money for it and all that. It's a very good sort of ultimatum to have face to face, and he picks option 3. I'll kill myself and nothing will happen, which opts him out of the whole process.
I think when it's revealed that Lamar killed Anne Lively, I thought the lady fainting was a bit over the top.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, really, yeah.
Way too. His face.
Yeah, I haven't really done anything yet. It wasn't. He put a black coat on and then put a woolly hat on, and then she fainted. Oh my god! They haven't done anything yet. He might be going to hop on a motorbike or something, but I don't know what he's going to do. I was going to mention something else there. I never forgot what it was when you mentioned that, Chris. So yeah, I think I'm out of high points. But yeah, very nice bow and everything at the end. I quite enjoyed that. On the low points then, point 3 on the podcast. What was the worst things were? Andy said he had questions or just low points. So Andy, why don't you lead off?
That's a bit of both. Like, they're low points because I have like too many questions. Right, you've got all this technology. You've got these people like predicting the future. Why is it on wooden balls?
Yeah, yeah.
Literally
I'll
annoyed
explain
me.
that because the grain in the wood's different every time.
It's always a
can't be
fucking
right.
thumbprint. Like, why can't they print off 3D thumbs? Why can't they just put a little ID number? Like, bullshit.
So I had a question relating to the balls. So it's established in the film, basically, you can commit murder if it looks like a previous murder. Like, if you just do it again,
It's
or
a genius loophole that I was kind of thinking when I was like, all right, echoes. It's like, this is genius. And then
Yeah.
obviously that is the whole premise.
it's a great way around it. Like, oh, that's perfect. That's how do you find a flaw in a flawless system, basically. But the balls are the flaw to me.
Yeah,
It's like,
they
so
come off.
it would come out saying Lamar Burgess kills Anne Lively, would it not? So
Unless the dude that's with the woman, he like, when he says, oh, that's not an echo, he does it.
because that could be the point. But I feel like in the film, they're like, when they are like, oh, there's something happening, it looks
Name
like
comes
straight
straight
away
out.
the balls start carving. And I'm like, that to me, that's the problem. That's the flaw in this whole film, basically.
I never
Is
thought of that actually.
yeah.
What annoyed me is the fact that it takes ages to go down this little funnel thing.
Someone's dying out there.
What if it's like a big massacre? There's the balls just going like that constantly.
It just looks good.
Yeah, what if someone goes crazy in a mall and starts killing people? Yeah, it must just be stacking up like it's.
Yeah. It's kind of the flaw in this film, like throughout, is it's too fancy for its own good. Like, it looks like stunning, like it looks like the future.
Yeah.
But like the road systems, like just cars coming down the side of buildings, then long interjunctions. Like, surely, like, we're in the future, we can make it a little bit easier, less concrete around.
Yeah, I make it a bit fancier.
The hand gestures was a bit too fancy for me all day. Like the arms and stuff. I was like, what's this one just go like that? Zoom.
yeah, it was way too much, wasn't it?
Right, I'm gonna do one more before anybody steps on it, because this is the ultimate one. This is the one that really made me go, fuck this film. This is really knocking me off. Right? That swimming pool had way too many people in it.
Oh, absolutely, it did. Yeah. No wonder he lost.
It literally just annoyed me. It was like, if I went to the swimming pool and it was that busy, I'd be like, right, let's go home, mate.
Yeah.
We'll go somewhere else. This is too busy. I don't care how hot it is. No, there's too many people. That's probably more piss than water in there right now.
Yeah, I did say it like I guess it's the point is it's so busy that's how we lost the kids so easily because there's that many people around nobody would have seen it. But still,
Since you mentioned that, it annoyed me, but don't find out what happened to him.
Yeah,
He
that's a fair
vanished.
point. The whole thing is a lie, isn't it? Like they finally, they explain away. Oh, this is what happened to Sean and all that stuff. Oh no, that was just made up. It's like okay then. Yep, never
What
find
did
it.
happen to him?
Yeah, what did I? Yeah, where is he? What happened? Anything? No,
I reckon his mum's got him. Didn't like Tom Cruise.
maybe.
Oh, then she goes back together with him, has another kid.
Right. Since you went on that one, I can't argue. That's absolutely factual, Andy. I'll go back to what you mentioned before, which is the motorway. I really don't like the platformer game scene with Tom Cruise. Like it looks a bit dodgy anyway with the old CGI. But I'm pretty sure physics doesn't work that way. I don't think he'd be able to jump so easily from car to car as they're flying down.
Jumps, the car just goes down. He's like, oh shit, I've misjudged this one.
Exactly. Like wind would be really unpredictable. Like he would be able to, he would just blow off the side of the building if he was in midair as well. And then he lands randomly in this weird contortionist yoga room for bad sort of gag that seems very out of place in the film. And then we just carried on with the film again. Like it's really strange. So I didn't like that, but that was
I'm bringing it back. Movie mistake. Before, like when he says everybody runs and kicks the window out, and then the car kind of flips over the edge, the window's back. And he stands in the window.
It stands in the window, yeah. Cool. That's a massive movie mistake, that one, yeah. And you've already mentioned the eyeball transplant, which, yeah.
I'm going to do another one with the eyeballs. The eyeball scene where he's rolling down, like he drops them and they roll down, he's running after them before the grate. It literally seems like it's completely in the wrong film, that scene.
Yeah, exactly. There are little bits of light comedy that feels very like the film itself doesn't feel very Steven Spielberg.
All
but there
I
are
needed was the Benny Hill song as he dropped it.
yeah. But yeah, there's these little light bits that are not quite right for the film. The film would be fine without them. Like, I didn't feel like the film is too dank, drab, sort of depressing. It didn't need those ones. Other low points?
The advert overload. I can't think of anything worse than other people seeing what
That's
ads.
coming up.
Can you imagine if you walk past and Pornhub's got one, you just see people like, why not watch this? Like every guy be walking down like that going, shit.
So when he's walking down the kind of, I don't know what it wasn't a street, but the building where they were shouting at him about Guinness and stuff, were they tailored?
On purpose.
Were they tailored to him? Like you say, are the things he's interested in, or is it always the Guinness advert, but they talk to you as you drive past, as you walk past?
I think it's that what you just said, the last
Yeah,
one.
I thought so as well. But also, there was about a dozen people there. Why was it just picking on John? Like, why was nobody else's advert? Because it wasn't like he was at the front and everybody else was in a line behind him. They were all kind of buzzing around. Surely they were detected. Because it's not in his conscious. It's not a case of they all see their own advert. That's actually happening in the real world. Is his advert shouting at him?
What I don't understand is, like, as he's walking through it, he looks like he's purposely trying to look at the cameras, which is getting himself caught.
Yeah, it did. It did seem like that. But I like that they had to change his eyeballs, which, yeah, you don't get that in every film, that you have to change your eyeballs. And also that it works. Do eyeballs work like that? I'm pretty sure they don't work like that.
I reckon you get an eyeball transplant.
Yeah, but I don't think it would work.
About revoking his eyeball license to get to the building again. He's a fugitive. We'll just keep.
Well, there's a bit of a flaw that. Yeah, it's like, right, he's a fugitive. Let's just go on the computer, take him off the access.
I have got that. It's not in low points, but I have it as worst plan. Not removing John Anderton's security clearance, meaning he could just get right back into the most secure room in the city, is what I've got. So yes, that's definitely a low point. You would think, because it's been it's maybe been a day, a minimum of a day since he was like on the lam, and it's like, yeah, we won't bother. We'll just say I'd be fine. He won't ever get back here. There's no way he'll get back here. So you don't know who Tom Cruise is, God's sake. Agatha hooked up in the recall place, as I keep calling it, the weird guy kind of giving people fake realities, basically is just recall. I don't feel like anything was really added to it. It was just the same stuff as before. It was just an extra 10 minutes of the film that wasn't required, really. Like,
it's the same video or brain, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think we got a bit more of the Anne Lively murder to give us another couple of breadcrumbs towards that, but that really could have been added somewhere else, like another previous bit where he's searching around for all the dreams. I feel like I missed out a high point at this point. And I've only got one more low point, so I don't know if anyone else has got any more.
Mine isn't really a low point, it's just why would you not just do this? Like, he's seen that he's killed, what's the guy called, Leo Crow?
Crow, yeah.
Why would you not just like go into room 106, the room that you thought it was, and just go to it, I'll just leave my gun here, and then go into room 109, then he's not going to kill him.
I started to write down this. I don't think I can't put it into words. I'm not even sure I can formulate it into a sentence and actually make sense. There is a massive paradox in this film. Now, the whole thing's paradoxical because nothing happens because they stop everything happening before it happens. Like, as a general rule, I'm aware of that. But Crow is paid to act like he killed Tom Cruise's son. So that makes Tom Cruise kill him. So therefore, he sees that he is killing him, so has to go stop himself kill him. Now, what Crow seems to do to act like he killed his son is spread a bunch of photographs out on a bed, but like days later. So I think it goes for. I think I have to put this as best plan for the nominations of Max one-sided. Lamar Burgess's plan of, if I pay a guy in 5 days' time to pretend to be like a child catcher who killed Tom Cruise's son, then Tom Cruise will find out that he is a murderer, and then my whole plan to take him down will work. Therefore, I will get whatever I want out of it. But the guy, Crow, doesn't actually do anything. He just books a hotel room and puts some pictures on the bed. And that one little thing is planned in advance so that Tom Cruise has to like go about the events of the film. It's very complicated and it blew my mind. I tried to write that down and it still doesn't make any sense.
See, for me, like, what would happen to me if I'd been Tom Cruise's shoes, went, holy shit, I didn't murder that guy. I don't really want to do that. I'll just go to Nando's instead.
Well, exactly.
I'm off. I'm not even going near that building. I'm going away. Boom, done. Problem solved.
Well, no, that's what happened. You wait till the time's gone, the guy shot himself, kind of thing.
Yeah, the guy killed himself, and then so it didn't go down as planned, if you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, it
as
still went
seen,
down.
but it still happened. But you're right. Why, like, other than to be nosy and to be like, what is actually going on here? Like, he doesn't need to go in that building. Because the whole point, I was thinking, this is weird that we haven't met this Crow guy yet. Because he's not in the film until about a minute before he gets shot, or maybe 5 minutes before he gets shot. He's not in the film. So the whole first half of the film was working out who he actually is. Which takes me on to what my last low point is. It's quite obvious who the baddie was going to be. For early on, I'm like, Max von Sydow is a good villain. And then it goes on, and then as soon as it's Anne Lively, a big guy killed Anne Lively in the water, and I'm like, oh well, we know who that is then. And again, I'd forgotten that. I wasn't recalling this, pun intended. I knew from then on that it was going to be him in every twist and turn, and that's when I started worrying for my guy Colin Farrell that he was going to end up kind of badly off here because I knew Max von Sydow was going to be the villain then. So yeah, it's a low point that I think it's quite easily work outable who was behind all the carnage. Any other low points?
Mine was just supposed to put like Max von Sydow and being Chief Justice. It just annoyed me.
From Judge Dredd, of course.
Yes, it's just like you're
With
playing the same
honesty.
character, only you're not good in this. Like, as in a good guy, not a
Yeah.
good actor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I got you. Okay, on to point 4, the stats. The usual ones. 1 shit and 1 F-bomb. Just one of each. Must have been to keep it a 12 or it was, yeah. It's a very loud and aggressive F-bomb, but yeah, just the 1 shit. I think. I don't remember missing any basic
So is that woman taking a shit? Does that count?
No, it doesn't. You stopped doing that. That used to be your... explosions, I think none. I don't think there was an explosion in this film. With the jetpacks never exploded. They just kind of got a bit fiery and a bit smoky, but not at any point was there actually an explosion. People went out through things, people got smashed through windows and all that, but never was there an explosion in the film. Now, deaths. It's either 6 or 2, depending on what you want to count. So there's the 2 murder victims at the beginning that Tom Cruise stops. We see them getting killed. So within the context of the film, they get killed. No, within the watching of a film, they get killed in this film. But then storyline-wise, they don't actually end up dead. So you can count them if you like. Crow gets killed, definitely. Danny gets killed, definitely. Anne Lively gets killed, definitely. And then Lamar gets killed, definitely. So you can either... And then if you wanted to count Sean, he gets killed, but he's not really in the film. He's already dead. He's always dead, we think. Yeah, at one point it said that he's killed, but it turns out that was a lie. So yeah, kind of 6 deaths, but also kind of 4 rather than 3, 4. So somewhere in there. The quotas: no cows and no goats. There wasn't. I checked that farm at the end where the pre-cogs ended up, but there was no animals around about. Less than not even a farm. I didn't worry for them. They just pretty much, we've put them somewhere that they won't have to suffer anything. Just a deserted island.
I reckon they're not getting Deliveroo out there.
Definitely not. So no dead animals either, I don't think. Pedophiles. I had Crow in here. He was, but then turns out that was all pretend, and he wasn't. But
I reckon he still is.
Out there, there is. Somewhere in the universe, somebody is. Because I'm assuming that's what happened to Sean, one way or another. The devil wasn't present. No KKK or Nazis. The Tom Cruise trifecta in this Tom Cruise film.
Not even a Tom Cruise can do a Tom Cruise trifecta.
I know. I feel let down. No futuristic motorbike for Tom Cruise. He gets the girl. He gets back with Lara at the end, and he very much runs because that is the one nailed-on certainty he will be running in a Tom Cruise film. But yeah, futuristic Lexus, I'm afraid, not a motorbike. I've got one stat fact thing. When Anderton escapes the temple with Agatha, Danny asks, how much time do we have? To which someone replies, 51 minutes, 30 seconds. That is, of course, how long it takes to capture. How much is it till Crow gets murdered? It's literally as long as it takes till the credits roll in the film. Exactly 51 minutes, 30 seconds later is when the credits start running. And so that is literally how long they have till the end of the film. And did they say the thing? Did they say Minority Report?
9 times.
How many?
9.
9. I had 8, but I may have missed one. 1 hour almost to the second was the first Minority Report. When I was finally like, that's what it is. Do you remember what Minority Report actually is? Can you define Minority Report?
Yes, when the pre-cogs don't agree.
Basically, is it when one sees a different future, or is it when one presents like a minority likelihood outcome? Because
I think if it's two of them see the same thing and one sees a slight difference.
right, so that would be because he was shouting at Agatha at one point, "Give me my minority report! Give me my minority report!" As if
it's always her that's different, isn't it?
yeah, as if she saw you kill Crow. But actually, what I can also see is Doctor Strange style. There's the 1% chance that you might not do it. So I couldn't quite work out exactly what a minority report was. If it was, because I think the film tells us if 1 out of the 3 it disagrees. But it also felt like actually there might not be a 100% chance of that one happening. But yeah, they say the thing. Chris, any stats from you?
Apart from I can't remember minority reports, because apparently that was supposed to be getting to do it. I also counted. She says, "Can you see a lot?" And I carried it 6 times.
6 times. I did wonder about that
I
one.
thought I was going to go like full red dragon, like every time something happens, do you see?
But
it didn't happen as much as I thought.
And the 2 jump scares, normally you've been known to do jump scares, so
I haven't. I was going to put it later on. What one have I actually done?
For your best jump scare.
I'll find it after.
They're both really. They both made my heart race. Like so, I would go for either of them.
Yeah, I don't have it yet.
Right, we'll think about that before we get to nominations then, and we can maybe debate it. On to point 5, the Temple Podcast quiz. Andy, why don't you take over and do a quiz for us?
Right. Originally, I was going to do the GIF that I sent you and do like a report, but I decided not to. So this one is we're going old school. It's going to cause some controversy. We're going to go to the old-fashioned buzzer round.
Oh no!
Which we like the listeners have been missing a buzzer round. So we're going to buzzer round, and this is going to basically work out your detective skills. And,
Okay.
Can you pick out the minority reports?
Buzzer rounds is that every now and again our mics stop, so one of us is sitting
there. yeah.
Exactly. So we've got to wait until. Don't shout out the answer until I call your name because that's who I hear first.
Okay, and we both. Well, we just
put my hand up.
I'll just shout buzz, and then
I'll go. Run!
run.
Right, so he's shouting run, and Chris is doing buzz or
Buzz. I'll shout buzz.
Right. Okay. So, and you can stop me halfway through the question if you don't. Just whatever. Right. What is the first word that Agatha says?
Buzz.
Chris.
Murder.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's as easy as that. It's just picking up small details. How many agents land in the park next to the merry-go-round?
Buzz.
Chris.
6.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, a little bit harder. How long did it take for the crime rate to reduce by 90%?
Buzz.
Chris.
6 years.
No.
Chris.
You don't have to, buzz when it passes over to you.
Buzz.
I thought you were going to get another go.
Oh, not infinite guesses. No.
4.
No, it was 1 month.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Damn it.
Right.
I said 4 weeks.
Fill in the blank. In the land of the blind, the blank man. Chris.
The one-eyed man is king.
Yes, it was. The blank was one-eyed. What word appears after the projections in John's apartment?
Buzz.
The word. Chris.
End of file?
Correct. It's end of file. Jeez, I thought Chris would absolutely destroy this one.
I don't like buzzers
around. Right. What color are the gloves that are hung up on the desk in the temple and when John is talking to Dad?
Buzz.
Chris.
Black.
No. Chris.
White.
No, they were orange.
No idea what you're talking about. I just guessed.
Right. Which advert personalized to John has a lady with a flower in her hair?
Is it perfume?
Nope.
Buzz. Lexus?
Nope, it was American Express.
Oh, I wouldn't have got that one.
What color car do John and Chris?
Red.
No, I'll finish the question. What colour of car does John and Fletcher almost land on during their tussle in the alley?
Oh. Is it blue?
Oh, it was yellow.
Ah, damn. I was going to say
what,
as well.
What type of instrument is the child playing when
Buzz.
John... Chris?
Saxophone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saxophone. Which store does John shop at for Agatha?
Buzz.
Chris?
Gap.
Yes. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Detective Bruce here.
Yep. Keen eyes.
What food did Leo Crow buy for Sean?
Run.
Chris?
Pretzel.
Yes.
Oh, it was, yeah. Pretzel.
How many orgies did Danny have as a homicide cop? Chris?
None.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
What is the number given to John whilst in
Run.
prison? Yes.
1109.
Yes.
What?
The
question
comeback is on.
You're just giving me a head start, Bruce.
What was the question?
What's the number given to John whilst in containment prison?
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, how did you remember that? Bloody hell.
How many gold-plated bullets are given with a
One.
revolver? Bruce?
5.
It is 5.
Yeah.
Do we have a winner yet?
I'm winning if
Yeah.
you're asking.
That's fine because that's the quiz over then. Good.
Yeah. It was 10 questions and I won 6-4. Chris really made it.
He
squeaky
was on a comeback.
Yeah, it was.
Like
I knew the last one as well because I could have tied it up.
Yeah.
With the Rain Man stuff again, the Rain Man brain kicked in with the really factual stuff.
He was under threat for having the best keen eye in movies there. Okay, on to point 6. Movies within movies. Back over to Chris with his keen eye for the 10-point podcast universe.
Well, the amount of, I was going to say staff, the amount of actors that are in this film, there's actually not that many that are reappearing.
Yeah.
Like Tom Cruise, John, was in Edge of Tomorrow as Cage.
I could not recall what film it was that we'd done. I was like, what?
Yeah, I'm sure we've done him before.
Yes. It's only been once though. So.
Yeah, same with Max von Sydow.
Mm-hmm.
He was, as we call him Chief Justice, but it's Judge Fargo.
Right.
I like to call him Chief Justice. They're all Chief Justice.
And I generally thought Chief Justice as well.
I completely blanked him having been anything we'd done before. I'd completely I'd forgotten about.
I thought he was in something else as well, but I think I might be thinking of Fargo.
Maybe.
Speaking of Fargo, Peter Stormare was the nutter in Fargo.
He was. The one who chopped up Buscemi and put him in the tipper.
He was also, this blew my mind because I completely forgot about this film, the president and Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Yep, he was.
Speaking of Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, this again, completely forgot he was in it. Colin Farrell played one of the Tonys.
One of the Heath Ledgers, yeah.
There's one more. Oh no, there's two more. Tim Blake Nelson.
Yep.
Gideon. He was in Oh Brother Where Art Thou. I thought he was in something else.
I don't think so. I think we talk about him quite a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting confused with. I think it might be because I watched Incredible Hulk the other week.
He was supposed to be. Remember, I said I forgot to add a high point. It was him that I forgot to add in. He came in at the right point. That was a light moment of him with his sort of perfect job that he had, where he was frying bacon and eggs and just doing whatever he wanted. Yeah, he was a buzz of energy, and then also a little bit evil and creepy to the right level as well. Was good.
When he was telling him about like the people, like the fellas were missing, he could have like been a bit of Andrew could have been a bit of a dick and blamed him, but he's like, no, look, I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah.
There's one more. Cameron Diaz was in this as a bus passenger.
Allegedly, yeah.
Oh, you can see it like because I watched the film and I went back and did this, and I went back and watched it again. You can just make out it's her. She's got a blue thing sticking out her eye.
Okay.
But yeah, she was Lottie in Being John Malkovich a couple of episodes.
She will. A couple of episodes ago. So the scene where she's in, the guy who recognizes him on the train, yeah, exactly. So the guy who recognizes him is the director of Night and Day, which is Tom Cruise, Cameron Diaz. So all three of them. That's why they were in that scene together, because they were working on or going to work on Night and Day as well. So he's the guy who does the double take. Is the director of that film.
I missed somebody.
I don't think so. I had no others. I didn't do like an in-depth.
You had the look of you must be 6 people here, by the way.
No, I don't think so. Nothing else jumped out at me. Nobody else was hidden away. And I actually forgot about Peter Stormare when I was writing them down anyway, but I wrote down ones I remembered. Recasting, Chris, have you recast this into the film?
Andy is the old guy taking a dump while I'm getting scanned by the thingamay. I put myself as John because I think if anything was to happen to my kids, that's the one thing that would turn me to murder. Especially if it was me that actually did it. And Bruce, I put you as Lamar because I think if anybody was going to take the podcast away from you, that would drive you to kill people.
That's my plan for world domination with the podcast. Yeah, I thought you would maybe go with the sort of conventional route, Chris. So I went a bit sideways. If I wanted us to be in the film, I think we'd be perfect to play the 3 precogs.
I think we are just lying there and not doing anything.
Yeah. So I've got Andy as Agatha because he's the one that gets dragged about the place and has to do all the acting of that. Well, you and me are left behind, so I've cast myself as Arthur. Now I challenge the two of you. Can you tell me what the 3rd precog's name was?
It's like
it's always on the roof as well.
Daniel. Dashiell.
You're right. That's it. Yeah, it's Dashiell. Like to Daniel, but with an SH instead of an N. Dashiell. And I was like, what a random thing. Why Arthur and Agatha? And then but it's because they're all named after famous mystery writers. So Agatha is Agatha Christie. Arthur is Arthur Conan Doyle. But then Dashiell is Dashiell Hammett, who wrote The Maltese Falcon and some other mystery novels way back when. So to me, by far the least famous of these mystery writers. I've never heard of anybody else ever in history called Dashiell before.
But for our listeners, me and Chris had a blank look on our face.
Yeah, once I mentioned books again. Yeah. Andy, did you do any recasting for the film?
See, I was going to change it up a bit and think about, because we normally do old films, and then who could, like, which modern actor that's currently popular right now acting could do this? And I came to the conclusion of Tom Cruise could probably do this.
Absolutely, he could. He'd play this exactly the same if this was made, right?
So yeah, this was a bad example. However, if Tom Cruise wasn't allowed to be involved in it, I would say the perfect person to be in this would be Chris Pratt.
Oh, I thought you'd go for Ryan Reynolds.
Well, I would say Chris Pratt, because the problem I have with Ryan Reynolds is he kind of did RIPD, which was kind of similar, but with monsters and shit like that. But yeah, no, I could see, or Chris Hemsworth or Chris Pratt.
Hemsworth, I would go. Chris Pratt is who it would be. I'm not saying he'd be the best, but that's who would be cast in this film. But I think Hemsworth would be quite good, yeah.
But ultimately, if this film was getting remade next year, Tom Cruise would be in it.
Tom Cruise definitely would be in it. Okay. So I've got my ones that I picked up. No films in this one. Nothing jumped out film-wise. He was watching an old film where someone got shot in the chest, but it wasn't necessarily.
Bad Boys.
And played the bad boys. So I've got Dead Man Walking, Max von Sydow, the second I saw him. I think he's must be up there with Sean Bean dying and things. Max von Sydow, he never makes it out alive. Could this film have come out in 1995? And I've got most definitely this could come out because it's like as futuristic in 2002 as it was in 1995. And I was the same as Andy. Probably Tom Cruise would still be the main character.
I was going to go the other way, but yeah, you could go all the way back to the 80s and Tom Cruise would still be the main guy in this.
However, if he wasn't available, 1995, this is an absolute nailed on Schwarzenegger doing this because it's just Total Recall again.
I can't really imagine him doing all the stupid hand movements.
Oh, definitely would. And he would be, I can see Schwarzenegger again being like Chief John Anderton because he always has the most American sounding names. The Schwarzenegger would be perfect. Who's in the wrong movie? I had this written down beforehand. Lara, played by Catherine Morris. Catherine Morris is in the wrong film. She's nobody famous. She's not a famous face. She's not particularly great in it. She isn't in anything else particularly. She's in the wrong film, and also she's a wee bit separate from everything else. Like because she's a nobody. No offense, Catherine. You think she's irrelevant, but then she actually comes into the film and is quite important at the end. So I found out in research that she was not originally cast. It was supposed to be Jenna Elfman. So I don't recognize that name. So she plays Dharma in Dharma and Greg is what she's most famous for. But to me, she's in Looney Tunes Back in Action. She's like the blonde lady that's the main star in that. Yeah. She was meant to be Catherine Morris. So I'm thinking, in the context of 2002, she's probably a more famous actress in face. But I'm still not sure. I still think that character's in the wrong film. She should not be in it at all, or she should be in it a lot more than she is. But other than that, everyone else is pretty good. Everyone else fits quite well. Colin Farrell's like he has his own version of this film, like I said earlier, but he's not quite right. And what happens next? A difficult one. They do wrap things up quite well. except from surely murderous rampages through the District of Columbia, because no one's out looking for murderers. This is the perfect time.
Yep.
Everyone's way out of practice and nobody's murdered anybody. So it must just be killing me a bloodbath in Washington after this. Is all I can think of in terms of what happens.
That red ball would go fucking mental.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't because the pre-cogs
Still
aren't.
rolling by itself.
Yeah.
Like a fucking national lottery every week.
Yeah. Okay, point 7. The tropes that need to die. Chris, what have you got in terms of tropes?
It's a bit of a struggle this week, but the one I went for is I'm calling it the fake out death. The one where it happens off screen, like it can be a gunshot or a knife attack or something like that, but somebody gets shot and then both characters that are on screen both look like they've
Right, yeah.
both been shot, and then the other one falls down. Like, but what's the other one? Like, if say like the three of us were in a film, I fall off a cliff and you and Andy are in a face off, and I come back and I shoot the bad guy from out of nowhere, that kind of thing.
Yeah, just as the bad guy pulls a gun.
Yeah.
And it's like bang, but it's not that gun. They're like, oh, yeah.
Like, what happened in City Slickers 2? Glenn.
It did.
He
Yeah.
gets shot and he's like, oh, I'm dying. Oh, I'm going down. And then he goes, it's just pain. Oh, yeah, just pain.
Yeah.
There's no need for it. People, like, you get shot at people like, that stings a little bit. You wouldn't go down fucking
Dying. Yeah.
Oscar. But yeah, I think fake out death needs to stop.
Fair enough. Can't argue. I've got a different one though. Mine's a 4-step trope. And this happens a lot in films. Step 1 of this trope: a married couple lose their child. Step 2: they can't bear to look at each other anymore because they remind each other of the dead child. Step 3: events of the film happen. Step 4: they just get back together again. They're over the whole dead child thing, and it happens in so many films where a kid dies. Is the couple split up because the kid died, but then they get over it by the end of the film, and it's like it happens every single situation like this. So yeah, that needs to go. Any tropes from you, Andy?
Drug dealers selling in dodgy areas. That seems to happen in every film.
Because it happens in life.
Is she selling good areas?
No, like what I'm thinking, right? Why don't they mix it up a bit, right? Tom Cruise, he's probably well paid. I know he's in the law enforcement and they're not that well paid, but I feel like he's got a nice lifestyle here. You know, she had a big house, you know, probably giving her some money. Looks like she doesn't work. So he's bringing all the money in. So surely there's a high class drug dealer out there where you can go to like a nice penthouse, a nice area. Why is he buying the good shit from a blind dude under a fucking rough area?
That's fair. That is a good point.
And it's always like anytime you want your drugs in a film, it's always the most dodgiest looking area. Like buy KFC, just rock into KFC, buy it there. I'm not saying that's where people buy drugs in real life, but
kind of sounds like Breaking
why is it
Bad,
always a seedy area?
Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Thinking about my bit of popcorn chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know, just a nicer like he seems like a nice guy. He wants whatever it is. He wants his wee bit of nitrous oxide or whatever. Just don't sell it in a seedy area off a blind dude. It's always drug dealers are always dodgy.
I think it's because I guess the dodgiest ones are the ones least likely to expose him. If he went to like a well-off, intelligent businessman who was selling it, there's always the chance that he would go to his superiors and be like, "Oh yeah, you know, Anderton, he's buying drugs off me." So that might be why.
Yeah, just I don't know, just dodgy areas for drug dealing. It's just I'm fed up with those in films. Nice areas.
Right. Fair enough. On to point 8. Nominations for the 10 Point Podcast Awards. Traditional says that Chris goes first and we argue with him now. So on you go, Chris.
I'll give you a bit of a break since my laptop isn't so good. So best actor, I went for Tom Cruise.
I didn't have him as best actor, but I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. It's worth a nomination.
I put Colin Farrell as best supporting.
The best supporting is where I got kind of tied up in knots a little bit. Working who counts. I need to give Tim Blake Nelson some credit somewhere.
I've got him coming up later on, I think.
Right. Okay. So I'm happy to go because I thought Colin Farrell was good, but I couldn't quite fit him in. As in pretty much every category I mentioned Colin Farrell or Danny here. So I'm happy to go with him on you. But Tim Blake Nelson needs some recognition at some point. So
if you could change it later on. I put biggest bell end as Lamar.
It has to be, really. Yeah, when you think of it, the whole thing has been a lie and a facade to get his business.
My best inanimate object is the cereal box.
I mean, it goes.
Mine's is the 6-stick.
I had 6-stick.
Coming up as best weapon.
Initially, I had the non-lethal shotgun that he had.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it knocked everybody flying.
All those fancy tunnels, and some other guys going like that. Click, clock.
Yeah. But yeah, six stick. I think pipped it once. The six stick came back to my memory.
Well, I put that as best weapon. So
Do we have best weapon, or have you just
I
invented a
don't
new
know.
one?
I feel like
I
that's
keep
made
like
up.
I'm sure you like one of the episodes that was like a weapon that we added was the best. We thought was
Maybe,
that
I
would be a
don't know.
best inanimate object unless the weapon talked.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
We
the
probably
cereal
could.
box had like moving cartoons in it, and I want cereal like that now.
I think six stick wins anyway.
Well, okay, my best plan. I'm gonna say Lamar's plan.
Yeah, that it has to be because it's so in depth and so. If I pay a guy to pretend to kill his son, then I'm not getting told that again. But that,
Yeah.
and it works basically. So yeah, incredible plan. That I don't know how he even came up with it.
I did have not revoking John's clearance as worst plan, so works.
Yep, definitely. Agreed.
Best weapons is 60. I'm gonna say the best twist is the Lamar. No, I'm not. I'm put it as worst twist because I saw it coming quite early.
Yeah, same. I don't know what the twist is. There is a twist in here. I don't know if it's the best or not. It's a weird one. I think the film just
I'm gonna
happened.
say the best twist is that creepy old lady smacking her lips on the Tom Cruise.
Maybe.
And
Yeah.
be like,
I'm going to say the best twist is
That's
he's
best
got an
twist.
agent's eyeballs.
Oh yeah, Mr. Yamamoto or something, wasn't it? Yeah. Or yeah, I guess there's a twist in there somewhere. I'm not sure. But the because yeah, early on you work out Lamar is the villain, so I'm not really sure what the twist is. Maybe it's a good twist. That's why it works so well. I don't know.
Yeah. My biggest jump scare was when Danny got shot.
Yeah, I'll say that. The pool got me, but the getting shot was good.
The best set I'm gonna go for with the top down of the apartment buildings where it's going through each one.
Ah, yeah, fair. I had the temple, but I agree with you. Yeah.
I don't have it written down, but that's what I've got. My best, I'll put best cameo was Peter Stormare.
It almost counts as a cameo. I don't have a best cameo, so I wouldn't argue too hard about it. But yeah, he's only in the one scene. He's there kind of because he's
Cameron
Peter
Diaz.
Cameron Diaz. She's not really in it. That's the other thing. It's like the back of her head or whatever.
Keeping most unexpected, the problem. But I put most unexpected is Frank Grillo.
Yep, I had him as well. I've got him as Danny John Jules, Frank Grillo.
Yeah.
Because there's a full shot of his face. I was like, oh my god. Yeah, crossbones.
My best fight was John versus all the cops, and like the jetpacks flying through.
Yeah, I guess it's that. Yeah, very good. I had it blank, but yeah, you're right.
The Michael Pena award. I'm going for the Anne Lively murder explanation at the end.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's good.
That happens.
I'm not arguing with Chris. Chris has come up with all the right answers here.
This is controversial. Worst father figure, Tom.
I would say so.
Oh, aye, yeah. I
100%.
nearly put what's he called, Lamar Burgess, because he's kind of Tom Cruise's father figure. But you're right, it is. It's John Anderton's the worst father figure, isn't he? Yeah.
Don't go and try and hold your breath underwater and let your kid.
Yeah.
Well, see, if I did that, I would have held his ankle. He's still there.
Yeah.
My best entrance is all the cops bursting through that bedroom at the start.
It seemed needless because Tom was already in the building. They'd all landed outside. So did they go back up?
They must have been back up.
And come back down again.
There's like SWAT. There's like one guy is captured. He's got them. Just like 6 SWAT guys just come bursting through the door. Just going. What have we got? Best cop, John.
It's either him or Danny. I'm still not sure what Danny was. Was he like a federal agent, or was he like
he was just an inspector in this one?
Yeah, so we'll go with John Anderton.
What picked it for me is when he's fighting other cops, he makes sure that they're safe when he.
Yeah, very good.
Share with them.
Yeah.
Best song, Bad Boys.
Yeah, Bad Boys. What you gonna do?
Called. And best product placement, Lexus.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll wait till Andy proposes his, because Andy's a specialist on that. So is that you, Chris? That last one?
I think so.
Right. What have you missed? Done cop. Best death.
Oh no, I did do the best death. Danny.
It's Danny. It might be Crow. It might be Crow. Because he still goes at the window, which is always a good one. But I thought Danny was good for the jump scare.
I didn't have best death, so whatever you've got will work.
Yeah, I had both them, unfortunately. Will we go Danny?
Okay.
Best food. The sandwich that he didn't eat looked like a very nice sandwich.
Yeah.
I was quite sad for him; he never got to eat it. Inanimate object we've done. Jump scare. Danny's death. Product placement I'll come back to. Best villain, Max von Sydow. He's good at being a bad guy. I'll tell you. So he's definitely best villain. Worst costume. Just for sheer randomness and one-scenedness of it. He changes his eyeballs. The next scene, he's got a grey beanie, a trench coat, and blind man sunglasses on for all of about 30 seconds, and then takes the coat off. And it was a horrible look. It absolutely did not suit him whatsoever. So that's the worst costume. The worst physics, which apparently is an award, him jumping on the cars as they were going down the building was the worst physics. And that's me. So I have a worst product best product placement. But Andy, that's your speciality. Best product.
I'm going to go for. It's simple. There's a lot of product placement, and it's probably more than we've ever done in this film. However, the one that just ultimately stood out to me, for no apparent reason, is Guinness.
Guinness was a good one. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it jumped. I had a different one actually. So that means that Chris has got one. You've got that one. I had Nokia as well because I noticed it was on a couple of the touchscreen tablets that they had. And then not long after, one of those adverts that was talking to him was also for Nokia as well. And I'm like, oh, Nokia's all over this one.
However, this was set in 2052. Nokia is already pretty much gone from the face of the planet right now. So I feel like Guinness in a futuristic, which kind of seemed like a utopian world where there was a little bit of dodgy stuff, but it didn't look like they should be advertising beers.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Guinness was the really kind of standout one for me.
I have numbers for the product placement. Nokia paid $2 million to have as many Nokia handsets in the film as possible, so everybody had a Nokia phone. But Lexus paid $5 million to basically give them a futuristic-looking car for them to drive around in. So Lexus paid the most money, if that comes into it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Is that us for
squeezing Tim Blake Nelson?
Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson. So I had him as best supporting. So
what could we do for...
Could he be cameo? Maybe, and we just bin off Peter Stormare, or
you weren't enamored with Peter Stormare.
I wasn't enamored. If I was to pick between two of them, I'd go Tim Blake Nelson. So
do that.
I feel like he might not make the cut in the end, but Tim Blake Nelson needs recognition. Anyway, either way. On to point 9, we've already gone too long. Point 9, the moral of the story, what the lesson we're supposed to learn with. Mine's really shit, so I'm going to go first. I just went, this is now, because when they're in the car, when she's out the pool for the first time, she's all confused, asks, is this now? And he goes, yeah, it's now. So I'm like, the moral of the story is, this is now. So carry on with some good ones, that said, mine.
Murder's bad. Okay.
Murder's, yeah.
If you dig up the past, all you get is muddy.
Very good. There you go. Yours is the best one, Chris. There you go. Point 10 on the 10 Point Podcast is a 10-point rating. We would rate the film out of 10 points. I'll go first because I picked it. It's missing something. It is not by any means the perfect sci-fi thriller action thing. It's something not quite right about it. Andy mentioned how it looked before. It looks futuristic, but I don't like how washed out it is. Like, there is no colour in this film. Everything's black, white, or silver in the entire film, which is a bit hard to watch. And that's why that stands out so much, I guess, is because it's red. I have no inclination to watch it again in the next 20 years. Like, that's me. Like, I've seen it again, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. 20 years' time, I'll watch it again. But it's good as a mystery thriller. Like, as the genre that it is, with a bit of sci-fi thrown in, with a great premise of what if you could predict these crimes and then make a story out of it. So it's good, far from perfect. So I'm going to go a 7 out of 10 because I think it's good. Andy, I've got you going next for no particular reason.
I remember absolutely loving this film, and then I watched it again. Love this film. It's a bit shit. I think the problem this film has is there's a lot of films that have done it 1,000 times better. CGI is way better. And for some reason, I keep getting this mixed up with the iRobot and artificial intelligence.
It's because they all look the same.
But they all look the same, but all three of those stories are completely different. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this film, but it's not bad, but I'm going to give it a 4.
A 4 from Andy. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for a good murder mystery. I kind of wish I could go back and watch it for the first time again, so I could actually watch it and be like, oh, who's... Once you've seen it once, you know what's happening.
I forgot.
Yeah. What we're doing. My only issue is that it goes on a lot longer than it should. There's a lot of scenes that could have just been cut and it would have dropped the timing down a bit. And like I said, you figure out who the murderer is quickly. Apart from that, I guess 7.
A 7 from Chris as well. There we go. So 2 7s and a 4 means the official score is a 6 out of 10 for Minority Report. I forgot the name of the film there. So I don't have a theme but it's the third film that I've picked this season. Thus far, I've picked Minority Report, Being John Malkovich, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Is your theme shit films?
No, it wasn't. There's definitely something about being inside minds. I'm not sure if Ninja Turtles goes down that route. I can't remember what happened in that film. But the other two, there is some similar themes in terms of mind control or weaponizing of the mind, one way or another.
You know what your next pick is?
Yes, I do. Does it involve the mind at all? Sort of. But yeah, my next pick is not very similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so they're very much apart. So yeah, there wasn't meant to be a theme. It was more just in case you thought I had some sort of, I don't know, psychological problem that meant I was picking the same kind of film. So on to Andy, who does have a theme. You're picking next.
Right, so this one obviously fits the theme. Check. It's October, which means it's the start of our spooky spectaculars. Which
When I realized I probably should have started with this pick, but this was supposed to be a while ago and I wanted to get it in. But carry on.
So yeah, spooky spectaculars kicking in. We're not going to do a stupid theme tune like we did last time, and there is no necessary to
Make
pick
a good one because
horror thing. But
I have a horror coming, but mine will probably be in November by the time I pick it, so it's not going to be too spooky.
So we're going horror, and well, I remember the bonus wheel this which will be after me. There is a special wheel coming, which is Sean's top 10 horror films.
So just another wheel of Sean that is horror, right? Okay.
Yeah, so it's just all of Sean's top 10 horror films.
I'm hoping it's to pick my pick because I have to really the other one.
So mine's is a horror sci-fi, to stick with the sci-fi theme.
Okay.
2006.
Oh, a bit more modern.
Directed by somebody called James Gunn.
Oh, I know him.
And it stars Elizabeth Banks, Michael Rooker, and one of my first ever loves, Nathan Fillion. It's Slither.
Slither. I don't believe I've seen the Slither before. So this will be fresh eyes from me on this one.
In for a treat.
Yeah. So there you have it. Slither. James Gunn's breakout film. I feel like it's maybe the biggest thing he made first.
I would say so, yeah.
Kind of sort of famous for that. Slither. There you are. You all have 7 days. Find the film Slither. Watch that. And we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.